Hello and welcome to another turn of Dominions 5. I am the False God. We're actually jumping into a live turn in our Porphyrion game because the day we have all been waiting for has arrived. Now, I have looked at this turn, but I have not completed this turn yet. But the day has arrived. An unexpected event has occurred in Porphyrion. 6,500 people have died. And the Lastrogonian tyrants have woken up. So, this is very good news for us. Besides that, our Blood Hunters did a shockingly bad job. Some gold, earth gems, all very well and good. Now, so the question is, right, this guy is basically our new god. Let's just revel for a minute, right? Look, he's got 10 paths. He has 157 hit points. Like, there's 4 attacks, but this one is like 5 attacks. Something absurd. He this obviously this isn't every Lastrogonian, but this one generates gems. A tremendous asset. And we are now into death and higher fire and earth than we have had access to all game. So this is our new god. This is our god now. And we get to basically recruit our god, or a version of it pretty much every turn. So now the thing is with our Lastrogonians awake, the question now is how best to use them, because their time is very valuable, right? They're at their most powerful the minute they wake up, and they are essentially going to keep getting worse relative to everybody else from here. Certainly in an SC capacity, as an army caster, they'll continue to be great. So, what do we want to do with them? We have, in no particular order, and that's sort of what I want to talk through here, is to figure out the particular order. I have already done some testing, and tyrants are capable of taking both of these thrones by themselves. This one worked every time with gear we can forge. This one worked most of the time. Oh, it is the Anuki of the Sky. This one works most of the time, like 9 out of 10 times, with the gear that we can forge. It always seems to work with a Ring of Regen, which we can't make. I have sent out some feelers to try and get a Ring of Regen to secure it. The kit that I was testing with is, let's just look at this guy, because we do need to forge the kit too. The kit I was testing with, let's see, was a Firebrand, Shield of Valor for the air shield. They tend to have a lot of arrows. I've lost a milk cart that way before for anyone who's watched the Baratos game. I was doing a Crown of Lead, although to be honest, I probably could do something else. I picked this just for the extra point of MR. I just was a little worried. Actually, I tested against this guy and a different guy. I think this guy actually, the Anuki of the Sky, may not have any astral. You know what we can do is, I'm gonna pause, and I have records of what I pinged it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause and come back when I've confirmed what is in there. Okay, we're back. Some of my testing was mistaken. I don't know why I got my sort of wires crossed on who I was up against. I couldn't remember which of the Springhawks. So I did test against this guy a little bit, and I mostly, to be honest, tested against the female Anuki who has the astral, which is what I was worried about. Given that we are not, in fact, afraid of magic in the same way, that guy is all air. Are there any other helmets that we particularly care about? I think we probably just go for the dragon helmet for the extra armor. I don't think the rest of these matter too much. Extra morale maybe is a thing. And we want the dragon helmets later, so we're sort of not wasting anything. Okay, so we'll probably do the dragon helmet instead of the lead crown. Should help a little bit. But also, obviously, a copper plate to deal with all the birds. We don't have any feet, so no feet. So here is, this is the one, if we're looking at the Anuki of the Sky. I was testing with a flying carpet. Now, obviously the flying carpet is not to help us in the fight. The flying carpet is to save time, because each one of our turns on these Lastrygonians, especially early, is really valuable. So I was giving them a flying carpet and a ring of regen. So that's 25 SR. In testing, that was more than enough. The script was... we needed to finish... Actually, I don't think we needed to finish Alt 7 to make it work. Yeah, we do need to finish Alt 7 to make it work, which luckily we're about to do. It was Soul Vortex, Phoenix Pyre. Now, I was again doing... I was doing Iron Will because I was afraid. And we'll do that on the other throne. On this one, though, that's probably not necessary. We can instead do, like, Temper Flesh. Something like that. Not Iron Skin. don't need to add any maybe a Fire Shield or something. Actually, not Fire Shield. Fire Shield is how you get killed when everybody attacks you at once. Probably just Temper Flesh, and then just attack. The only thing that ever went wrong in testing is when one of the... this is without the Ring of Regen. With the Ring of Regen, this didn't matter. But without the Ring of Regen, if one of the birds got lucky and shocked through... on the first, like, on the second turn, he could interrupt Phoenix Pyre, and then we'd usually rout. We basically never would die. We would just rout. Now, we only actually have one legit rout target, so routing could be bad. But, and then this one, we're going to make a Smasher. It's basically the same kit, Smasher, with an anti-magic amulet, and then... I think those are the two. Those are the two main switches. These watchers actually aren't in range of you at the start, so you can get your whole script off every time. So that works out pretty okay. We can like script in some extra shock resistance. So we want to be able to take both of these out. Probably not with Enceladus though. I think, because Enceladus, right, has slightly higher paths. He's 442. Our regular Lastrygonians are 432, with only a small % chance at a difference. So Enceladus is a little more valuable, and we have other things for him to do. So first, we don't want our Lastrygonians sitting on our capital. They eat 100 population, and they cause 12 unrest. So we want to get them out. We want to put them somewhere else. Which coincides with a secondary objective of, I really should have done this earlier, but we need to get this statue forted up to get the enchantment bonus. So we're going to send a dude over here. He's going to build a lab, and then we'll go ahead and build a fort. I think what we're going to do also is just slow down on some troop recruiting, where we are still recruiting troops, just because we're going to need a little bit of extra... see, look, we ran out of... we stopped recruiting people. That's no good. Keep recruiting, you fools. Yeah, we're just going to slow down. We have so many troops. We need a little bit more money for infrastructure. I'm going to keep recruiting all of our Iron Guard, though. They're great. So yeah, so we're going to go ahead and infrastructure this up with a lab. To get the enchantment bonus, because there's a couple things that I need Enceladus to do, or a Lastrygonian who's not Enceladus. First, we want to cast Gigantomachia, however you pronounce that. The Dominion conflict bonus is great. The main thing, our Dominion though, I think is already doing really well. I think that we have only these recently acquired territories, which are currently outside of it. And getting these thrones will help spread it even further. But to assist with it, what we need to do is cast Gigantomachia. But what we really want it for is to give us access to our regular Lastrygonian troops. And then those Lastrygonian troops, once we get Blood 3, we can do Lastrygonian Feast and pay 35 blood slaves and get a smaller version or a weaker version of our Lastrygonian Tyrant. So they're not only 132 versus you can't see it over here. 123. Like these guys are a little bit worse than the true Lastrygonians, even once they're upped. But they do have, I think they have like 2 fire, 1 earth, 1 death, or 2 earth, 1 fire, 1 death, something like that. So they can still cast a lot of great buffs. And there are, we can produce 2 of, we get one of these only every other turn. You could produce an extra one of these each turn if you had enough blood economy. Now, our blood economy is not ideal. Right now we have 2 blood hunters. The question sort of is, how do we want to get more? So we can continue to empower. It's pretty tough. We can research Conjuration 6 to get Bind Cares or Carries, whatever it is. We get 3 of these guys. When they're hit with a Gift of Reason type effect, they become Blood 1, Death 1. So we could pay 35 Blood Slaves to get an extra Blood 1, and some, we'd pay some Death Gems too. 4 Death Gems apiece, which is more efficient than empowering. And we could try and get our blood economy scaling up a bit that way. Each one of those would be another couple hunters. We could put one immediately onto a... The other thing is we need someone who's going to be actually casting this spell. At Death 2, Blood 1, that's out of the box, a Lastrygonian has been empowered, or it's going to be a Care with a Skull Staff. If we're going to get a Skull Staff, we're going to need a Lastrygonian to make it. I think the Care is what our Death 2 to make. Yeah, Death 2. So we're going to need a turn of Lastrygonian. It doesn't have to be Enceladus, could be any of them. To make that Skull Staff to give to a Care to start that process up. So this guy we want him to cast Gigantomachia. We want him to cast Bind Care. We want him to make a staff of death or whatever. We also want him to be able to cast Eternal Pyre and, ideally, Earthblood Deepwell. So Eternal Pyre would take us just 1 turn. So we're researching from 5 to 6 in just a single turn, which means that from 6 to 7, it'll take us 2 turns. To cast Eternal Pyre, we would need Enceladus to be up 2 more points of fire, which he could do with a Fire Skull and a Fire Helmet. That would get him to the Fire 6 required to cast it. For Earth, he needs a Bloodstone and a Staff of Elemental Mastery because he can't wear boots. To get a Staff of Elemental Mastery, we need to give a fire item to one of our Shackled Smith, because we can go Fire Helmet, Fire Skull Booster, that's 3, and he forges it +1, and then a water chest piece and a water bracelet. That'll let him make the Fire Water Staff. And then with the Fire Water Staff, and we would need this guy to be able, let's see, what do we need to do to get this guy to be able to forge a Bloodstone? Bloodstone is Earth 2, Blood 3. So we're going to need to pick up another point of blood on this guy if we're going to pull that off. So empowering him in blood would cost us 30 blood slaves. And that would give us our Bloodstone, and then from there, Earthblood Deepwell. Now, I think that there is some concern about casting 3 globals in, like, as many turns. That could look very scary. Earthblood Deepwell is a lot more valuable than Eternal Pyre, but it also draws a lot more attention. Gigantomachia, I don't expect to draw as much attention, certainly not from the broader game community. It only is going to impact the people who are near me, and I have a nap with these 2. Not that they couldn't, end it and come after me. I'm already kind of at war with Delphine. And then this would be pretty... Tiernanog would have to... They came from somewhere over here, right? So they'd have to extend pretty far to hit me for now. So the hope is that nobody would care too much if we put up, 2 of those. So we're going to have to see. Certainly Eternal Pyre is a lot easier for us to put up. We want We have a lot more fire gem income than earth gem income, and we want, I think, earth gems more, but it's sort of, it might be what it might be. Additionally, in Enchantment 6, this is a unique to Hellenica thing. There is a Twiceborn that has a standard gem cost and does not care about how large you are, as opposed to the lower research Twiceborn, where you can see it costs 5 for each size point. So this would cost us 30 death gems to Twiceborn a Lastrygonian Tyrant, but instead with the Eng 6 version, it will cost us only 10, and with our sight, it will cost us only 8. The other problem with Gigantomachia and Earthblood Deepwell is they both take Earth Gems. So if I wanted to cast, if I'm going to cast both of them, I probably need, and it's 50 and 80 respectively, although the Earth one is potentially reduced by our statue. If I wanted to cast both of them, I would need to either, I would really need to cast the Earthblood Deepwell first, so that I get that gem income going to cast Gigantomachia. I expect competition for potentially Earthblood Deepwell, and then next for Eternal Pyre, obviously, and there's no competition for Gigantomachia. Someone would have to go out of their way to dispel it. Possible, but again, I don't think that's super likely. I guess we'll find out when we eventually cast it. So this guy needs to make, or we need to have essentially Tyrants be making Skull Staff, Flaming Skull. We need to have him get over here so he can cast Twiceborn, so he can cast Eternal Pyre. And we need to forge all the gear we need for the other guys to come out and hit these thrones. We also, of course, need to do all that quickly and then march into Delphine. Is the idea here? Delphine largely seems like they're busy doing something else. We're gonna definitely be using our little crystal ball here at Delphine itself to make sure we can see if Macedon is there or not. See if we need to move on like this stuff right now before our Tyrants are ready. Probably should, but I'd like to see how it goes. For like, if there's a huge fight and Macedon gets blown up, then I can wait a turn. I can wait a couple turns. All that being said, I think that our most productive line is to start by having Enceladus forge a flaming skull, a skull of fire. That's something that only a Titan can make. So once he has the skull of fire, so next turn we have our skull of fire. We give our skull of fire to a fire 2 who forges the fire helmet. Enceladus moves here. This turn we're moving a guy here. So next turn he'll be building the lab. So Enceladus will arrive to a ready lab with access to fire 6. We will put up Eternal Pyre. That's that same turn. One more of our Lastrygonians will wake up. That Lastrygonian will receive all of the gear we have made and charge into this throne. This throne. Because then he'll come back and hit this, and then we can go right into combat. Starting with this one puts us on the wrong side. The other option would be hit here, move up into combat, and then if we need to pass any items, he can do it in one of these labs. And then the second one that wakes up can then go after this. I think those are both viable. We then also need to have one of them cast the Skull Staff, or forge the Skull Staff, and then that Skull Staff, or well, not with the Skull Staff, but then we can have one of them bind Cares too. So that's a lot of actions that we sort of need our Lastrygonians to take care of for us. Another option, if we wanted to have our Enceladus not be the holder of Eternal Pyre, we could wait And then once we forged our elemental staff, we could just have a random Archon do it. The Archon is obviously substantially more susceptible to all kinds of remote-based nonsense, and he's very old. So I don't really want to do that. I think we're going to stick with Enceladus, and then we'll just be careful with Enceladus. We won't rush him into fights if we don't have to. He'll also be twice-born, so he should be safe enough. You know, famous last words, I'm sure. So that means that research goal-wise, we need to finish Alteration, we need to finish Enchantment, and we need to finish Conjuration. Where we go from here is we need Blood 3. Now that takes almost no time to research. So this will be next turn. This will be the turn after. This takes almost no time. We need to then decide what else we want. So let's go through the schools and see what new spells we get access to. I don't think we're going to want to go to Conjuration 7. So Conjuration 7 has Living Fire, Living Clouds, Living Water, Living Earth. All fine. Mound Fiend would be fine, but we can't get... We do have Death 3, and a Mound Fiend I think is Death 3. But we currently won't have any method of going to Death 4. Or Death 5, which is where you get the next booster, which would take us to Death 6. Now, we don't have anything we would do with Death 6 anyway. Tarts are Death 7. They're way down there. We can also, eventually, we're going to probably want the King of Banefires. Well, I mean, we can get him. He is kind of really pricey. He is a Death 3 as well. But I don't think we're headed up to 8 right now. And I think, to some degree, a lot of the elemental royalty loses their luster on a nation that already has really capable colossal mages. Like, you know, one of the elemental fire kings is Fire 5. We have a Fire 4. In combat, that's probably, you know, you're probably going to be able to, and we have access to communions, obviously, and boosters, so it's probably not going to make a tremendous difference. There are situations, but in general, I don't think that the elemental royalty is a high priority for us. So I don't believe we're headed right into Conjuration 7, basically just for these. So I think we would wait on. There's a lot of nature in Conjuration 7, which we have no access to, which sucks. Alt 7, we're in the middle of picking up. A lot of great stuff here. The Phoenix Pyre we talked about. Fog Warriors is pretty tough for us. Air 5 is a lot. It's not that we can't cast it. Our Oppressor Archons certainly can in a big enough communion, but they will kind of shred a pretty good part of that communion. But Fog Warriors, great spell. Marble Warriors, also very useful. Doom can be very helpful. The nature, we can plug in a shaman to do like a mass protection if we think that that's worth it. Now, we're going to get all this anyway. The question is, are we going to 8? That's going to give us resistances, which are nice. Quickening is okay. Well, I mean, it's good. Resistance. Will of the Fates, very good. I think, so right now we have a huge amount of human chaff. I don't know, even with a decent amount of buffs, how much that human chaff is going to hold up. I think it's mostly going to be screening for our mages. So Alt 8, very, very much a good option. Evocation 6 would take us just one turn. Magma Eruption, Astral Fires coming out of our Oppressors are both fine. Flame Eruption I don't think is super important. Firestorm and Shimmering Field. No, not Shimmering Field. Firestorm is obviously very potent against enemies that don't have fire resistance, but we also don't have fire resistance. And on our humans, even if we put up, you know, resistance to fire, 5, they're still going to get chewed down by Firestorm. Murdering Winter is okay. We can, I believe, cast it. But we are heat. What are we? Are we heat? Are we neutral? Okay, the volcano is, we had heat being produced by our volcano. We are in cold in early winter. I think we're just neutral temperature scales. So that is Murdering Winter can be on the table if we need it. Rain of Stones can trick people, but again, it's potentially rough for us too if we're not careful. Wailing Winds is difficult, but is 1 out of 10 on our Lastrygonian Tyrants, so I don't think we can try and aim for it per se. If it becomes available, we can pick it up. Same with Wind of Death. Volcanic Eruption is interesting and something we can use with our extra fire gems if we want to try and lock somebody down, but I don't love it. Pillar Fire, though, is very good. Maelstrom is also very good. Tons and tons and tons of gems. If you can... We don't have a water province, though. So we would need to go and fight into, like, Tianchi or something, or find a lake. And I don't think we're really looking at 9s yet. Construction. Weapons of Sharpness, huge. Golem Construction, huge, potentially. Very useful. And then we could try and get the unique artifacts, which those could also break us into higher level paths. So that could be pretty darn helpful. It's certainly a possibility. Enchantment, we're already headed to 6, like we talked about. It's also, so that's going to give us Eternal Pyre. Heat from Hell, if we want to try fatigue plays on people. Same with Grip of Winter. We can do either. Heat from Hell is a heck of a lot easier, though. And it's not going to hurt us quite as much. Arrowfend, if we need it. I like this dome. Yeah, we're going to want to dome up our capital because that's where we get our Lastrygonians from. So Dragon Teeth is going to be huge because, well, they're great units in general, or it's a great spell in general, but also because we get these temporary earth gems. So, right, we spend 1 fire gem to get a temporary earth gem. So it costs us very little. And so we're going to be able to very casually, even on fights that wouldn't, I think, normally trigger gem usage, if you have temporary gems, you'll still use them. I don't 100% know if that's true, but it certainly seems like it should be true. We're going to be able to put out, 100 of these guys at like no cost. These are magic weapons, magic armor. They're not mindless or undead, although they look like it. But these could be really useful to help absorb casualties for free with our temp gem items. Even though we care about resources, but we have a lot. This gives 4 times resource value times Dominion. And then mines get an extra 20% times Dominion, max plus 100. I kind of wonder how much money we would get from this. We have a lot of resources. I do not know how our guys' resource bonus works. It doesn't really say. Because that potentially could be big. That is maybe something worth considering. Now, I think we also have a non-zero number of mines. We have a great gold mine. That's 1. A gem deposits. It's 2. I think this counts as a mine. Does the other one like say mine on it? Mine. Gem deposits. Okay, gem deposits are not a mine. So that's 1 less than I thought there was. Okay, all right, another one is a gem deposits. Great silver mine, so 2 mines. Okay, just the 2 mines. I thought that those gem deposits counted as mines. But I guess they don't. So yeah, it would sort of depend on exactly how it's calculating these resources, because we obviously have a huge amount of resources available. So that's something when I finish this video, I'll probably go test and maybe report back on if it works. Because that's another one that people I don't think people are like, oh, he's got riches of beneath up. Oh no. right? Like, not people don't think that typically. So if your income is 4 times your resource value times your dominion, or 4%, we have some high value provinces. We have some very high resource provinces if those guys count. And our dominion's pretty good, max dominion 5. So I'm going to test that one. That could be really interesting. It's another huge use of earth gems, though. And we only have so many. The Twiceborn we already mentioned. Like we're getting enchantment 6. But enchantment 7, another dome, mass flight, great spell. I don't know if it's as good for us in some ways. Depends probably. We don't have like the elite troops that we want to put on the back line. But certainly there. Earthblood Deepwell, great. Solar Brilliance when you need it for darkness. Stellar Focus we can't cast, although we'd like to. Life After Death, we would need a second. We would need to like summon somebody out of Conjuration or something. But then we could try and turn all of our troops into undead. I think it's a lot, or not our troops, but our mages. That's a lot less needed, I think, on this nation. A lot of our mages are already slaves, so they're very, very cheap. So I don't think that is as important as it is in some other nations. Serpent's Blessing. If we're attacking Delphine, they definitely can put out poison. So that Serpent's Blessing could be very important. It's definitely got me leaning towards enchantment. But it might be sort of cowardly. Purgatory, Dark Skies, Vengeful Water, Vortex. I don't think we're going for 7. So I think it's enchantment 7 for poison resistance, construction 8 for if we want to try and get a head start on those artifacts, or maybe evocation 6 for magma eruption. I think would be the main one. Yeah. I think for now, I'm going to go with enchantment. But I may change my mind. I in no way feel obligated to only do that. So, with all that said, we're going to forge a flying carpet here on this Air 3. Also, we definitely want to forge that Elemental Mastery Staff. That's going to get us a 4, which gets us a 5, which gets us a 6. And one of the Elemental Royalty we do potentially want would be a Queen of Air. So we're going to make a Flying Carpet. Our dudes don't have feet, so it's the only way to get them around fast, and they have garbage bat move. So it's very important to, at least within our own empire, it's the sending the carpet out into the wild is probably pretty dangerous, but at least within our own empire, getting them moving multiple provinces is going to be really important. We also need to make one more Cyclops commander, at least one more. When we start to recruit the Lestragonian troops, they also will cause unrest and eat our guys, although it's not that much, but they will only be led by somebody who's size 4 or larger. So if we want to just kind of shepherd them around, probably over here, we need to deal with that. It is the Gift of Reasons are in Thaum, right? Not in enchantment. Gift of Reason, yeah, in Thaum, and Divine Name also Thaum. Okay. Wanted to make sure we weren't gonna. There's no enchantment bonus possibility. There are lots of enchantment slots still open, so we're not necessarily just gonna bump right into anybody either. I don't think. Okay, yeah. So with all that said, the best way I think to execute our goals this turn is with this skull, and then we need to start forging all of the gear I talked about. We already have the shield, so let's put our stuff into what we're gonna use. So we have the Shield of Valor, and we have a Dragon Helmet. We still need, on our guys, a Firebrand. We need to find all of our people who have hammers. Yeah, so we have the Firebrand. We have the Shield. Helmet-wise, we have the Dragon Helmet. We need to get an air guy. The Girdle of Might I did use in my test on one of them, and it's just a good item anyway. And I don't... We haven't got any. We need some air dudes with hammers. Also, we can just obviously give the hammer to the right people, but... we need copper plate. And then we wanted an anti-magic amulet, which is going to have to come from a non-cyclops, so it costs more, which is a, boo. We need another firebrand. So we need firebrand, shield, helmet, copper plate, which we started. The carpet, which we started. And then, ideally, a Ring of Regen we're going to trade for. We can also try it with the Girdle of Might and with the Storm Spool. If we can't trade for the Ring of Regen, I probably will not risk flying in here, and I will instead forge a Storm Spool. We're also forging a Robe of Water. That'll give us access to all of our water dudes. That gives us 2 water boosters, and then we can put that on a regular spread dude, and then he can cast our staff. If we want to get our earth up to a high enough level, riches is only 5 earth. So we would not need to make a make a stone for that. Now we only have 82 earth gems plus 9 a turn. Riches from beneath is 70, and Gigantomachia is 50 at base levels. So that's 120 right there. We're getting, say, 10 a turn, so we need 4 more turns. We need 5 more turns, just because we're not quite getting 10 a turn. We need 5 more turns to get enough for both of those. Or we head directly for... We put enchantment 7 before this stuff, and we try and put up the Earthblood Deep Well first to go for that. But that's putting up a lot of globals. I don't know. I'm a little nervous about owning too many globals. I feel like I don't immediately go after people who have globals, but I have definitely been gone after for having globals. So I don't want to repeat that if I can help it. And if I thought riches was worth it, then that would be me trying to put up like 4 globals, and that's just too many. I think we'll let Earthblood Deepwell get away from us right now, as much as it pains me. We also need to start searching these lands, because I know Nabatem did not do a good job. Not his fault, just that they didn't have any time to do it. So I think we'll be a little bit research inefficient, but we'll go ahead and give this guy the boots. He can go make our lab and then start site searching with those boots on. Let's see. So we could also, if we didn't want to go and manually site search, we could remote site search. Do we have any good Telluric portents we can do yet? No, not from here anyway. None of these are mountains. Yeah, no mountains. We didn't get that many mountains, unfortunately, for our ability to search. Flying boots. Can we make? Can one of our? Let's see. Casting the row. Where are all my hammers? Do I have one? F1. Who's got a hammer? Don't defend with your hammer. Forge something. to 4. I guess just make another firebrand. You should research. 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 This guy can... Like, we could also... Yeah, we could start, like, YOLO gnome loring, like, high-value stuff. Could try this one. This guy, make another... I think like another water lens. Search. Search. We are recruiting. I'm not going to castle this, so this guy can go do something else. I've got some scouts. Let's go see if we can't watch this battle without having to put our guy on charge of it. So this province is really funny. So this is Nabatem, right? They have their Statue of Beginnings. The Statue of Beginnings adds 1,000 population every turn. So depending on how long he lasts here, this could be an extremely valuable province, a lot more than it looks like. We only had... Oh, this guy I looked at earlier. That's why he stopped blood hunting. Okay, so I think we're going to have him blood hunt. This guy can probably just research as well. Okay, that's our last thing. So we're making all of our stuff. We're getting our guy in position to start checking out our globals. Now, I guess I didn't mention we are going to get a rebate on if it turns out that riches is worth it, we are going to get a rebate on the 70. So it would take a little bit less time. And yeah, I think we're in a great position, right? We're not huge or anything. How many provinces have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So we have 27. That's like getting... I mean, we just vultured a little bit, right? Like, we didn't win a first war, so we're not huge, but we had decent decent starting borders. We're a good size, we have good income, our stuff's cheap, and we've got our tyrants online. So now we're gonna be looking to get our tyrants involved, capture these thrones, and then get some big super combatants and strong army thugs and strong, huge casters all involved, and see what we can take out of Delphine. So that is our plan. I have to test riches for Beneath and see if it works with Porphyrion stuff. If it does, that would be pretty cool. If not, then, so be it. But yeah, so definitely a long one. Thanks everybody for joining me. I just sort of wanted to talk through what I'm doing for this one, as it is a big turn. So thank you. Hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one.